Afternoon all. Okay, we got the rapid today, starting very shortly. Let's just check the pairings. So Nakamura against Gelfand today, and we've got Caruana against Howl, and to the four boards, Jones against Polgar, Juliet Polgar, Sutovsky against Short. So let's set up an analysis board view. So this will be on our analysis board on the right. Hoping that's going to be okay. Hi there. So right. So exciting pairings today. Let's stick on the Nakamura one as high priority. I think. I suspect that'll be quite an exciting clash of styles here. Gelfand, quite a positional player, more on positional leaning. I mean, everyone's positional here, of course. Just a stylistic kind of leaning. But Nakamura's, yeah, quite fun usually to watch. As players go, I've named him actually, well, someone did for me, the Entertainer. I had someone on chessworld.net, which is my correspondence style site, gave, you know, very short nicknames for each like grandmaster, and Nakamura was called the Entertainer. Coulson, the Clever Kid. So we've got a whole thing in the. If you go to chessworld.net, which is my site, this is the Internet Chess Club, by the way, which I'm friendly with, and but my site, yeah, on the master collection, there's you can check out these little player nicknames. They're quite funny. But anyway, so Nakamura against Nakamura against Gelfand, and on board. Virtual board 2, Caruana against Howl, Jones against Polgar. Okay, Sutovsky Short. How is everyone this morning? So I hope the boards are okay. Actually, I don't have to show. I can sort of have a bit more here, a bit bigger. Maybe a bit bigger over there. Okay, this should be fun. This should be good fun. I don't know though. Even though I kind of like rapid chess, I think it's nicer in a way to have the longer games to comment on. You get more into the positions for much longer. But anyway, this I suppose in general, you know, that makes for like 6-hour videos though, just following a 5-hour video, you know, following one long game, as opposed to multiple of these, which are over, you know, fairly quickly. So who prefers the classical time controls for the Super GMs, or you don't mind this rapid? What's the opinion here? Is this just a bit of fun? Do you think this is just a bit of fun to watch, or do you think ideally the classicals are more fun, in inverted commas? Got no moves in at the moment. Just check my iPhone here for the. Actually, I've got my other tabs over here. Pardon me. For the schedule, just going to check the schedule. So for today, I think they've. Oh, we got a game. We got to move. We got to move. So in B3, I remember this 3-minute tournament I annotate. Well, ICC tournaments where Nakamura was playing B3 and B6 in loads of his games, and he won it. He won the ICC Blitz tournament. So he knows what he's doing with B3. And whenever I play, I might actually play B3 against him, which is probably not a good idea. Yes, I'll smash it on all occasions. Against B3, he played in one game against me. He played this kind of setup with F6, just putting a wall to the bishop. I think maybe it was this later. I'm not entirely sure what happened after that. But let's see. So Caruana against Howell is a King's Engine attack, which seems to be all the rage at the moment. I seem to be seeing a lot of King's Engine attacks, stroke Catalans, though it can just go into the Catalan. So Jones against Polgar. Garwin Jones from Wales, I believe, against Judith Polgar, the strongest of the three Polgar sisters. So this is taking the fun out of the Sicilian defence. It's become a real routine to take the fun out of things with Bishop. Pardon me. With Bishop B5, the Rosalimo kind of anti-Sveshnikov move. This is so standard now. But I played an Open Sicilian recently. I thought, and I managed to do all right with that. So English Refugee, you say you like both styles. The time control is long enough for good quality games. You think this is definitely more fun, Krishna Kav? Yeah, my own ratings, just in case, yeah, I've got a higher rapid myself than a long play. My rapid is actually in the top 50 in the UK, my rapid rating. My long play has been going down a bit in the last few years. I'm hoping it will go up in the January list. But I definitely seem to prefer myself rapid when I'm playing it. So, well, mind you, I think the more you enjoy a time control, probably the better you're playing on it. I'm actually enjoying the longer games at the moment, playing the longer games. So I don't know, maybe it's to do with, using the time in an enjoyable way. So, okay, so Sutovsky against Short. So what opening was this? Let's just quickly review that again. So Royal pairs with D6. Is that the Steinitz system or something? So Bishop B3. In fact, I wonder if I can get a classification. Not sure. So that's on board 4, virtual board 4. We've got this only Bishop B4 check. What's going on here? Disruptive check. Right, that looks as though that... No, it's not a disruptive check. It's just attacking the rook. Pardon me. So, I mean, the idea of provoking C3, okay, it loosens D3 a bit. It's awkward for a knight to go to C3 later, which is like the natural square. So if the knight has to go to D2 now, it's a bit of a hassle to do something useful the night after. Maybe knight F1 to G3. Okay, we've got E3 here. Let's follow this. My favourite player, to be honest. So he's played E3 here, and positionally, you know, white is getting this grip. You see this grip on the dark squares. So e3 fits in well for gripping the dark squares. So as does sometimes f4, you know, knight f3. And sometimes if, you know, black plays like that, then bishop b5. You can see it's all about the dark square control. Well, statistically, it's about dark square control. White's whole system, it's positionally, you know, oriented. So I don't know if f4 is mandatory here. You know, he doesn't play f4, but it could happen later anyway. Knight f3, you know, it could happen like later, knight e5 and f4, because it's quite useful to have this and then castle, and then rook f3 to h3 as a kind of built-in, you know, reusable routine here. But for the moment, you know, maybe just d4 actually keeps a grip on e5 as well, or d3. I'm not sure about d3. What would Naka play here? Okay, so he's played knight f3 anyway. So here could play maybe d4 possibly. I think d4 looks fairly sensible for a dark square grip. And then try and play for bishop d3. Yes, he's played d4. Okay. So this grip on the dark squares. Okay, it doesn't matter about blocking in the bishop at the moment. I think so. Maybe just bishop d3. Yeah. So if white can get a kind of stone wall with the bishop here, like knight e5 and f4, but he wants to cover e4, so maybe like knight d2 if possible, to avoid any knight e4s from black. Sometimes that's desirable to stop knight e4 from black. So instead of castling, you know, you could do a functional move instead of castling. Castling's like the routine move. You know, say c5 was played, so the routine move does allow though knight e4, which could be a pain if black follows with, you know, f5 maybe. You might have some regret there. So if you don't castle routinely, you could play knight d2 just to cover, you know, the e4 square. But we've got, you know, this is like a fun opening. It would be funny if, well, it would be great if Nakamura could use b3 to beat such a strong player. So I think he's loosening up a bit, given the time control, and so did Nigel Short apparently from yesterday. Loosening up a bit on playing the more solid openings. So bishop d3, knight d2 maybe here, if c5. And if we don't play c5, then, okay, what can black consider? I mean, can black consider knight e4? Is that terrible? It looks as though it could be terrible if white can just quickly undermine this. You know, this might be nice, and just castle queenside, f3 later, and you get this g file, and then you sort of coordinate with the bishop and the rook on g7. So it's like a reversed French defense with opposite side castling. So I don't know about knight e4. I think it's quite committal to do knight e4. Would white be really prepared to give up the light square bishop here? It's possible. Okay, so that's quite interesting, that position. So on board 2, double fianchetto from Caruana. Okay, this reminds me a bit of one of the World Championship games. Oh, what's happening here? Queen g4. Ooh. e5. I think Jones is playing very aggressive in this tournament. He did well, I think, to draw with Nakamura. I didn't know he was that strong at 30-minute chess, Jones. But he seems to be getting very aggressive positions. But it is with increment. Maybe it suits him with the increment quite well. C4. What would be the idea of C4 here? I wonder. It's interesting black didn't take that. Is it just to expose A6 later a bit more? If black had taken. It looks as though this D5 control is quite nice for knight D5 later. I think, yeah, that looks interesting as well in its own right. Ah, okay, we've got some moves here. So let's get back to this one. So we had knight c6, a3. That was stopping knight b4, I guess. Now knight d2. D takes c. Ah. Yeah. So he's opening up the bishop. And if taking here, going for e4 seems on the cards. I'm not sure about immediately because we'd have to exchange off queens potentially. Although white looks to be okay here. Isolated pawn, isolated pawn. But if we keep the queens on and just play queen e2, I don't think c4 is that useful for black. So e4, that d4 square is a bit of a concern if you play e4 though. I wonder about c4. So that sort of plan for playing for e4 or c4 looks likely anyway. That's interesting. So if bishop takes c5, I don't think that challenges the d4 square much, not to have the pawn there. It hasn't been played, so b takes c. I think, oh, c4 immediately. C4 immediately, not moving the queen. Maybe the queen's better here than here. It seems c5 might be a target, funny enough, even though it looked maybe around a strategy for black's king earlier. But now, this c5 could be some sort of target there. Later, you know, for rook c1 and keeping the grip on the dark squares. Black plays d takes, knight takes. Looks like a good, you know, grip on things with isolated pawn there. I don't think that's that pleasant. d4. If d4 is played, trying to lock in this bishop. think just he's taking here, then b4, and that looks fantastic. We've got knight b3 after. That looks great for white. Different knight takes d4. Maybe same sort of thing. Black overplays e5. He's weakening some light squares. d4 is quite committal. He's played a5. Now the queen could go to c2, because he did make the time to stop any knight b4s. Queen c2 threatens actually immediately, potentially, well anyway, in theory, to take here, but it is attacking the rook, and then to take here. I'm not sure that's such a big deal. Have to move the rook first for that to be significant. But the point of it is, you know, to create more weaknesses around the king. So, say black played, you know, rook e8, and we spend time playing this. Now black might decide h6 or g6. If h6, that's solid enough. I wonder, there's hyper-modern route to this position, to put the queen on a1 and reserve the possibility of cd later, and maybe putting the rooks like this even against c5. That would be very hyper-modernish, but black gets to play moves in the meantime. English refugee. So last night Emil Satowski said he prefers slower time controls and liked the old 40 moves in 2.5 hours. Yeah. I have a feeling that if to master different time controls, I think you really need to get this idea that you're enjoying playing chess at any time control, and then you might be playing it effectively. Otherwise, okay, so c takes d, ed, queen c2. Let's move this all back. So cd, ooh. Go back here. a5, cd, ed, queen c2. So we've got a kind of double attack going on, potentially. But I think we want to move this rook. And then there's a threat of bishop takes f6, potentially. Remove this rook, put pressure on c5. I think white never wants to play e4 now because of d4 locking in the bishop, unless he gets c4 square. Doubt it. I think the pawn's going to stay on e3. So rook c1, queen b1 to a1 maybe. So that sort of thing might be interesting to consider. We get this weakness out of black to play h6. I don't think g6, that's just like feeding the bishop. If we play h6 with black, rook c1. Actually, we're immediately threatening bishop takes f6 here for queen takes c5 on taking as well. So c5 in conjunction, that queen seems nice for these ideas on c2. I don't think rook c8 can be gotten away with. Queen takes, knight d4. Oh, maybe. Where would the white queen go? Here. Oh, it's a7. Maybe that's good enough. More than good enough. So this is getting a bit dangerous for black. Rook c1 really threatens, it seems to threaten bishop f6. So black's move here might be important. Well, every move is important. But the routine rook e8, rook c1, how does black actually parry bishop takes f6? We've got these two targets here. Do I agree that Gelfand has the dynamism? No. I think Nakamura is playing white. I would prefer white here. In this position, I think Nakamura's got a great position. G6 now, I don't know, it looks horrible to have to play G6. I think he's just made the bishop more dangerous by playing G6, weakening these dark squares. I like white's position a lot. Yeah. I mean, I might be biased a bit to Nakamura as well, but I like, you know, his position here. So black has resolved the issue, I think. Has he? No, rook c1 still threatens now. Bishop takes f6 for queen takes c5. I think it's too radical to give up the exchange here. That's too radical, there's nothing there. So rook c1 looks entirely logical to me in this position. In fact, I don't know what black does here immediately. I don't know. What does black do in this position after rook c1? Let's go with d4. Let's try d4. That could be a good move. It blocks out bishop takes f6. With e4, I mean that's letting black off the hook. It's closing in the bishop, giving black the e5 square to celebrate. Yeah, things like this, maybe. I don't know. On the other hand, it does give white the c4 square, and maybe black. What can we play here? Knight e4. So we're threatening c5 for knight takes c5, and if takes, we've got now bishop takes c6 and knight takes d4 for queen takes c6. He's played rook d1 after all that. Alright, okay. Rook d1, that's really interesting. Rook d1 instead of rook c1. Knight fd7, knight b1. Wow. He's actually changing the subject from c5 to d5 potentially. Here, it's all about d5 all of a sudden. That was a quick shift of subject. I wonder why that is. I suppose the queen's here. There's a perk to this rook being on d1. So knight c3 coming up. We can use the b5 square as well. So if black ever reacts with d4, it's kind of extra weak if we've got knight on b5. That's really interesting. So say bishop f6. Let's just say bishop f6. Knight c3. We can also go to a4 potentially. So d4, knight a4. This looks nice. A bit more concrete actually than knight b5. Might look good on b5, but knight a4 actually concretely makes the c5 more vulnerable. Let's black play here then. Bishop f6, knight c3. So threatening knight takes d5 as well. Important to note. So knight b6, let's say. Bishop e4. Bishop c4. Doubt it. Does stop knight a4. Bit of a pain that for stopping knight a4. Is that possible? He has played bishop f6. So knight c3 looks entirely logical for me, at least. Knight c3 hitting d5, and there's options of knight a4 hitting c5. Black would never really want to take to weaken the diagonal, surely. We've just got this huge diagonal. I don't think d4 works. So basically knight c3, you know, threatening d5 looks quite a nice idea, actually, for this rook d1. He changed the subject from c5 to d5 rather sneakily. I didn't see that coming, to be honest, and that's why it's really interesting to watch these games, to see the amazing ideas that can be, you know, formed. So here, okay, so knight a4. I mean, both of these pawns are vulnerable potentially, but immediately, you know, what to do about d5 after knight c3. So let's go with knight b6. Now bishop e4. I'm just wondering, using the pin, is there any mileage in that? Or is it just d4 here? Knight b5. We've got loose pieces around. No, well, this one. But d4 looks vulnerable. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, all looking at d4. 1, 2, 3, 4 defending. But with ed, we've got this pin as well here, which is useful on b7. That's a loose piece here to factor in tactically. He has played knight c3. Knight. Wow. Didn't see that one. Knight e5. So it protects d5. Really? With bishop b5 here? Let's just say, for sake of argument, we're going to have double pawns. Knight e5. That would be terrible. It'd be a disaster. Forget the double pawns. I'm going to take first on e5, then play bishop e4 using the pin. 2 pins being used. How does black defend d5 here? Maybe black can't play that. Maybe bishop takes bishop e4. We haven't got the pin. Just take that. bishop b5 instead here. Well, h2 is more vulnerable. This position. What do we do here? Hey, d4. Hey, bishop b5 isn't that all that? Mind you, the bishop, I don't know, wants to get out of the way in some respects for the d5 pressure. If we go bishop b5, there's a d4, blocking in this bishop. No, I think that looks alright for black. Even things like queen h4 might be possible. And then look, bishop b5, I keep thinking bishop b5. Let's think of something else in this position. Maybe taking on e5 is a mistake. To take is a mistake. So forget taking on e5 for a moment. If he doesn't take on e5, well, you know, if he doesn't move the bishop to e2, then this looks horrendous.
Check.
These double pawns. This looks horrendous. I'm going to follow up d4, end of game. It's crashing through. If he plays like, you know, bishop e2, is that plausible? Is it plausible to play bishop e2? It is attacking actually d5. This is horrible for black, surely.
Check.
This would be horrible. D5 will definitely be dropping off. We just take on d5. So what would black do with this tension of the knights? There's d4 here. What is taking?
Check.
No, double the pawns. Get play. Huge play. Fantastic position. Oh! Okay, he has played bishop e2. d4 has been played. So there's a move here which is interesting. So f3 is on the fire. Knight e4 just to stop this business with the double pawns. We've got pressure on c5 and d4, quite a lot of pressure on c5 and d4 now after knight e4. He has played knight e4. And alright, let's see. Think. What does black do here? Black certainly doesn't seem to want to lose the dark square bishop. Surely not. There's a few problems here. Okay, let's go with bishop takes e4, just hypothetically. Queen takes this position. Knight takes.
Check.
Bishop takes. I'm actually wanting the rook. So actually if rook e8 we can just take this. So let's leave that there for a moment. and just play. Rook c8. We're going to lose this d4 pawn. Now he has taken on e4. Oh, blimey, loose piece alert. Has Gelfand just won a piece? I didn't see that coming at all. Has he just won a piece with knight takes f3 and bishop takes b2? I can't believe this. Gelfand's amazing. Have you seen this? That's like shell shock. What? Bishop takes, knight takes, and we're just losing a piece. Oh. If knight takes, d takes. Well, hold on. There's knight takes d7 here. That can't be right. Can it? We can just take here and then just take here. I don't believe this. I didn't see this coming. I don't know if any of you guys saw this coming, this loose piece. I know, so recently I've been fascinated by loose pieces in games, how they create kind of magic. And if that's the case here with the b2 bishop, I just did not see this to be an Achilles heel of White's position at all. If you just rewind this back, how could you imagine b2 being an Achilles heel of White's position? But as soon as the queen left it, it became a loose piece, didn't it, in this continuation? These loose pieces could be the subject of, you know, many amazing like tactical methods which you wouldn't be able to see, you know, from your current position. I mean, you have to work backwards from loose pieces to work out some of this stuff, and this is an amazing example. I know that there was one video on the channel I did about loose pieces and double attacks, but I think it deserves greater videos about loose pieces, how to work tactics backward from loose pieces. Alright, it's not winning a piece apparently. Okay, let's have a look. So d3. What does White do here? What does White do here? Knight takes. D takes. We're forking both rooks. Rook takes d7. We can take here.
Check.
It's always nice to do that. I don't know, queen b6. We've got this check as well, if needed. The magic of loose pieces. That is part of the magic for me of chess at the moment. Loose pieces. Seems like such a simple subject, but yeah, b2 is being targeted here. I mean, this is kind of a loose piece as well, obviously. I mean, to d3. Rook takes d3. Is that best? Knight takes.
Check.
Let's play bishop takes d3, so this check. Black's just won a piece for a moment. Oh, he's got bishop b5 after. Oh, that's the point. Sorry, bishop b5. Ah. There's knight e5. Okay, and the game continues anyway. It's winning the piece back. So knight e5. And So, okay, so there's various here. There's Queen E2. No, actually Queen B6 would be tied to B5. So I think we would want to take here. Huh? That can't be right. No, black's
Check.
just like a rook up here. If Queen E2, we got Queen B6. So if Queen takes, oh, we're on E5 here. Queen takes, Queen takes, Queen takes. Ah, Queen takes. Well, that's okay for white, finally. Was that forced? Queen B6. So we're on the queen and we're on the bishop. Queen B6. Oh, there's loose pieces here to connect. Anything better? Hang on, there's Queen F6. There's Queen takes, knight F3 check.
Check.
Queen F6. Protects that. How does this go then? Knight E5? What does white do here? Just Queen F6. We've got a loose piece on B2, funny enough. Continuing about the idea of loose pieces, we'll have a loose queen on B2 for knight F3 check if we took. Doesn't seem right to play Queen E2. Doesn't seem right to play Rook takes. There's nothing, is it? Don't know. I'm not seeing something. Should we engine check this then? Does anyone want to engine check it, cheat, or should we just set it as a tactical problem for ourselves? There's also Rook A7 as pointed out, yeah. Yeah, Rook A7, that might do the trick as well. That's a good point. Well done, Luca. I don't know. Isn't just Knight E5 though for Queen F6 pretty convincing as well? I mean, because we're actually on A3. You know, that's useful to have that bishop there and to get out of the pin. You know, if F4, you know, we just play. Oh, F4. Oh, where's the knight going? where's the knight going? Someone mentioned f4, didn't they? Okay, yeah. Chris de Camp, you mentioned f4. So let's go back to the drawing board then. So here, rook a7 is mentioned. Rook a7. Yes, rook a7. That might be better. But then we've got queen d5 now. If we want to get our piece back, we've got a nasty pin. Blimey. This is crazy. So if takes. I don't know what's going on in this game. Have they both gone nuts to go into this? I don't know. Nakamura's seen about 15 moves ahead in these variations. I mean, this is unbelievable. He's just played queen b6. Black's just played queen b6 after all that. Alright, what did the engine think of this? Let's just check now that we've passed it. Can we just see what the engine thought of this? This is crazy. The engine thought rook a7 was the best move, actually. Queen c6. And it was about equal, apparently. So that's what the engine thought. Okay, thanks. So, and out of interest, let's just check the other line since I was excited about it. Knight e5, apparently queen e2, queen f6, f4 was the move. And actually white would have been it would have been about equal as well. Okay. So we passed that amazing manic phase there. Queen b6, bishop takes, queen takes b3. Haven't we got a nasty... Oh, I don't know. A nasty pin? I don't know. Bishop c6 to d... What about this? Just target f7 here. Bishop c6. Then we've got bishop d5 coming up. Mind you, losing a couple pawns might be a problem. But we get rook d7 in first, and then bishop d5. And we've got, fun on f7 coming up here. I don't know if that means anything in this position, because black can always play king h8, that sort of thing. That bishop controls the dark squares. Maybe that's not that. Let's concretely look at this. Bishop c6. So rook b8, rook d7. We've got bishop d5. Oh, queen e6. Well, black seems to have... I thought black had some problems earlier. He seems to have... knocked out all of his problems and got this position potentially as a pawn up, which is pretty good going, unless there's a major problem with this, the queen and bishop here. I can't see it. I mean, a lot of tension has gone from the position. So bishop c6 was played. Rook a7. He's protecting f7. Bishop d5. So he's offering a3. Look, black's got past a pawn. Oh dear, oh dear. But this bishop looks good anyway. If bishop, looks good eyeing this, And yeah, but black has got this like potentially winning a pawn, and can just get back on the dark squares actually defensively and push the a pawn. I think it was wasn't it a 20-second? Was it a 30-second increment or a 20? I'm not sure. Does anyone know? H4. This looks like desperate to play H4. Queen B4. How did Boris see that stuff? Don't get it. I mean, with this bishop here, who cares if there's a pawn here? Just A4? Mind you, the bishop can always park here to block the A pawn. What about... Ah, so if C4, C3, we're going to end up blocking this diagonal. But then there's always C2 as a threat. Something like H6, you know, here. That would be... Well, there's always C2 here as well. I wonder if it's a big deal, a pawn coming to H6. If we just play, oh, we just play... Ah. Alright, so this bishop might come back here. King G7, Rook H8. If HG, HG, we've got King G7, Rook H8. We're down the H file. We've still got our passed A pawn. I don't think white was intending this position from earlier, somehow. I know it's opposite coloured bishops and they usually favour the attacking player in the middle game. But on the other hand, yeah, I don't know. So was it Queen E2 kicking the bishop? Went back, HG, HG. Queen C2, we're on C5. And G6. Queen takes G6. Because of that pin. So, what do we do here with black? I wonder. I think it was better to have gone to F6, by the way. You know, when he went Bishop G7, so I don't mean to criticise, but the king, you know, G7 would have been possible here. If you look at this position, yeah, King G7, and then we would have had Rook H8. Now it seems this looks like bad news for black. That Naka's got this tactic, double attack. Mind you, Rook D7. Yeah, and then if Queen takes, we've got Rook takes D5. And actually, if Queen takes C5, we've got Rook here. But I don't know, we can play all sorts of things. Bishop B3. Someone's saying rook a6 to cover g6. Mr. DJ Greyhound, you're saying rook a6 to cover g6. Okay, what about queen takes c5 though? Oh, bishop e5. And we can force a draw, or
check.
More, king g7. And queen here,
check.
f6. Actually, that's good. Good one. Mr. DJ Greyhound, you got a point. You got a point. It doesn't matter about c5. Bishop e5 is dangerous, isn't it? Mind you, f4, f4, f4. So how do we solve this problem? Bishop, not bishop e5, queen takes g6 is even check. Alright, we've got to solve this g6 in particular. Oh wow, that is an amazing idea. Just to sort of use it for time game with a3 to try and queen the pawn. Allow g6 to drop. He's just trying to queen the pawn. But bishop a2 does block the pawn. c4 now. So he's threatening the queen because he's unpinned. Queen c6. c3 now. Whoa. Rook e6 to h6. Threat. Okay, so he's on the pawn, but what about rook e6? Maybe rook h5 first. Actually, we're hitting. We've got double attack on the rook and the queen. Actually, rook h5 is a significant threat anyway here. Well, it would force the queen to f6, and then maybe even bishop b1, just to, you know, play on bishop h7 check. Naka might be getting back in the driving seat, I think. He might be back in the driving seat. I think it's very, very dangerous to lose a pawn around your king against Nakamura. So rook f5. Is there a concrete threat there? I didn't see it. So queen e4, rook f4. Okay. Yeah, this looks tricky. Just one moment. Okay, so queen a8. Okay, what's going on here? What about just rook g4? Threatening queen takes c3. Isn't that a move? And also there's a threat of queen g5. So if rook c8, I think we'll just play queen g5. I think doesn't rook g4 look good? So we're threatening queen takes c3 as well as queen g5. Mind you, rook e5, queen takes c3. And there's rook g5. No, rook takes g5 is pinning the bishop. Rook g4. And this king moves here, say, to protect c3. Queen g5, f6. Well, there's queen h6 here. I'm going to mate on g8. I'm threatening queen h8. Because that bishop's quite good on the diagonal. Let's play queen g5. What? Huh? Oh, yeah. I don't think queen takes f4 is quite working for this check, unfortunately. So white is threatening rook g4 or rook h4, king f8. Can I just theoretically just check something for a moment, or is it a bit too much in the game? They're getting some time increment. Can we just check this position with rook g5? Oh, let's go back to the game for a sec. Just step back there. I can't believe rook g4 wasn't played. Nakamura just played queen g5. Let's just check with an engine here. Queen f5 apparently was +4. What he played was actually good as well. What about rook g4? Wasn't that a good move? That was okay as well. So the number of moves which held a good advantage. So queen c5. We somehow have this position. Get back to the game. Now it looks like rook d1 is a major threat. Queen e2. Looks as though black's in a driving seat now. Was he going to use f3 for holding d1, looking at f7? Oh, is this the evaluation at the moment or something? Hold on, stop this. CPU meltdown alert. Oh, this doesn't look... It looks as though black's in the driving seat here. With the suspended threat of rook d1. The queen's nannying d1 now. Did Nakamura blow that? So, if we just... That doesn't look right from what white had. Let's just go back to this position. Let's start this again with rook g4. Forget queen f5 for a moment. Rook g4, rook e5. Queen takes c3 or... Queen c... What was wrong with queen takes c3 there? Black's doing fine there. He got rid of the c-pawn. My move doesn't seem that bad. Rook g4. So queen f5, what's that about? What is this about? Queen b7, rook g4 again. What's the threat? Like queen f6? So rook e6, queen g5. There's no rook g6 because we just take. f5, queen takes, and we're winning the exchange. So this is all much better than the game continuation. So in the game continuation, some sort of disaster happens. Queen g5, queen b8. Where was the disaster move? It went to 0 after rook c1. If rook g4 here, queen e5, rook g5. So king f8, bishop takes f7. And white would have been absolutely in a murderous position apparently. Let's say this one. So anyway, back to the game. Okay. So I think it's blown the position.
Check.
Or has he? This looks dangerous as well. What's going on here? So queen c6, queen h5, rook d1 check.
Check.
Well, white's king safety is put in question now. Black's a bishop up.
Check.
I think Naka blew it. Oh, he blew it. Big time. He blew it.
Check.
Well, mind you, 3 pawns against the bishop is interesting.
Check.
Oh, it's going for a draw now. Heading for a draw. 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 Wow, that was something. What a game. So black just plays bishop d2 I think here. So if any e5 we just take here. So that's why this is like oh, e5. Okay. Do they agree a draw here?
Check.
And king g5. Okay, f6. No, he's playing king g4. Actually, So if f6, king here, yeah, and you know we can't really queen this pawn. So king g5. If takes now f7, and we have this drawn king and pawn ending. I assume it's drawn, isn't it? Am I going completely crazy? Yeah.
Check.
Yeah, keeping the opposition. So it would be a catastrophic blunder, by the way, to play king d8 because it doesn't keep the opposition. This would be winning, so it's very important to know this position that you play here. You want to keep the kings opposite each other, so you play king e8. So if king f6, you know, king here,
check,
we get this. Okay, so drawn. Okay. Oh, that was mega exciting. I enjoyed that. I don't know about you guys. Did you enjoy that? That was fun, wasn't it? I thought that was more fun than yesterday, actually. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, if you do like this commentary, please do, you know, like the video. All likes appreciated. We've only got 9 likes, and there's 90 of you guys watching. Please like the video. So, okay. Now, let's see what's happening on these others. Did they... What's happening on board 2? Is that still in progress? Let's copy board 2. Oh, I think that might... Oh. Something's not happening there. Okay, and what's been going on in this game? Let's do a quick review of Caruana against Howl. So it was a dull sort of double fianchetto. White won this D pawn for his B pawn. Oh, so if takes, there's knight E1 check, winning the queen.
Check.
This looks like an extra useful pawn. This pawn. Again, there's these check tactics protecting the pawn. Now he's just played this. There's a loose piece here. It looks as though did Howl. Oh, still playing.
Check.
What more moves? Blimey, how many moves did they play?
Check.
A lot of
check. Check.
A lot of cat and mouse in this
Check.
game.
Check.
Oh, hang on. Hi there. Hi there. Yes. Okay, I'll come over soon. In the next. Can I come over in the next hour or so? Is that possible? Okay. Cheers. Thanks so much. Bye. Okay. Judith match. So Caruana got crushed. Is this still in progress? No. Hang on, just get a conclusion in this game. What's happened here? He is like 2 pawns down. And did White officially resign? Did White resign? Does anyone know, did White resign? I could check the results page. Anyone know result on this? It looks as though White's losing anyway, or lost. Okay, the Polgar game. Let's have a look at the Polgar game. Oh no, this is still in progress. Oh. It looks as though Queen D5 to F5 is useful for F2. So Queen D5 keeps a hold of B3 for a moment longer, but before Queen F5. Alright, let's look at this game for a moment as well.
Check.
Okay. Caruana against Howl is the game still in progress. Yeah, I managed to lose connection, I think, there for a sec. We still got the I need to go and get my car, actually. So yeah, Caruana against what's going on here? Where's the Caruana game here? So we're back, are we? I'm hoping we're back. I don't know, internet connection is not brilliant at the moment. Well, do check any bumps in my internet connection doing these relays. So Queen E6. When's the next round? I need to somehow be back in a few minutes at some point. So the next round is at 3:30. Not much of a break between this and the next round. 3:30. Okay. Hi, we are back, aren't we? Oh, the likes have gone up to 27. Thank you very much. Yeah, great. So 27 likes. Any likes appreciated. So I do need to nip out to get my car. So what I'll do, I'll put the boards on, and I'll be back in a few minutes, basically, shortly. With the increments, I mean, I don't think there's a major time pressure with the increments. So the king can start marching to g4. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Unless it's going to get mated or something. Horrible.
Check.
I thought the king just marches... Well, you don't want to lose the queen like this or something. You have to go back to e6. So this could go on for a while, this game. All these checks. Is this going to be an extraordinary long game or something from here?
Check.
Or not? I think queen f7. Well, the f3 was an idea, but maybe not. So Caruana can be stubborn here. So he's delaying the scheduled start of the next round. I don't know how you can schedule increment clock games properly for a next round. If the increment, they just carry on playing hundreds of moves on the increment. You can't really schedule that very well, can you, as an organizer? Maybe that's one downside of multiple, on a day, multiple round increments games. So this could go on. And on. Okay. Pod. So are you? Okay. So I'm streaming. So don't speak too much. Sorry, just come down. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to pop out for a few minutes. This game might delay the start of the next round, I suspect. I'm hoping it goes on for a while because I need a few minutes to come back. So yeah, so you can see the actual game, of course, here, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Hopefully a few minutes, less than a few minutes. So how is Black going to convert this? Is it easy? Queen F. B2, yes, he's crashing through with B2 and Queen F3. And the checks. Now he's got double attack on B2 and E5. Ah! Isn't that perpetual check time, almost? Was the king escaping? Could be a perpetual check. And there's Queen H8 check to win this pawn potentially. So Queen F8 and King G6. They're living by the increment. Queen D4 forces Queen E5, doesn't it? Queen D8. There's going to be loads of checks here. Is this a great drawn or something? Check what the news is on this. The clocks are still ticking. Let's get the next position here. Will we play E5?
Check.
Well, I think White's not losing anymore.
Check.
Surely. I think got just enough checks.
Check.
Check on F8.
Check. Check.
Draw. Oh.
Check.
This sort of game challenges the increment clock. It can go on
Check.
for ages after the scheduled time. Ages and ages.
Check.
They're generating so much time with all this.
Check. Check. Check.
Mind you, 40 move rule, 50 move rule, 40 move, 50 move rule.
Check.
Huh?
Check. Check.
Okay, I assume this game's going to be finished by the time I get back and new round's going to be in. I just need to go and get my car, so I don't know if this is going to be agreed to draw now so I can set up the boards, or it's going to carry on forever.
Check. Check.
Well, so B1 has to be stopped. It's with check, surely.
Check. Check. Check.
The king is stopped from doing anything too adventurous, from going over here. Yeah.
Check.
This would be winning for black if the queens came off. Obviously the pawn's queening.
Check.
Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay. Hi. Okay. Sorry, don't talk too much, please. Sorry, streams on. Hello. What's been happening? Adams against McShane. That's a good one. So was that a draw? What's the events at the moment? Sunder against Kramnik. That should be interesting. We just bishop b3, 95. I suppose Kramnik knows what he's doing there. Knows that quite well. So I've seen this the other day actually. I think on one of my C3 Sicilian videos, this variation where black makes sure he's causing some structural damage here. It should be okay for black. As bishop e8 gets the bishop out of the way, so the rooks are connected anyway. It looks quite neat and tidy. So seeing that in practice here. Let's close this off. So was the Howell game a draw? I assume it was. Check in a moment. Something against Kramnik. Adams against McShane. Let's have a look at this again. So quick d4 Scotch game. Looks a change from the Roy Lopez. I think so. I thought Howell was winning that. Did he blow it? Yeah. He seemed to be 2 pawns up. He must have. That surely was winning, but obviously, time pressure, accuracy, go down the drain. Accuracy goes down the drain. I'll check the results of that round. Preserving the bishop. Maybe f4, possibly. Oh, I don't know. Just wondering later if f4. It looks anti-positional. That knight would be quite good. But it is quite good at the moment. What does Adams want to do here? I'll say knight b1 at the moment. Knight b1, so he can play c3 and knight d2. Then maybe knight c4 to challenge this knight. If he plays with f4, it's just like isolating the pawn. I don't think the f file pressure is all that. So I think the threat is actually knight b1. Check this out again. So Rubinstein variation of the Nimzo engine. So the Rubinstein variation is this E3 move. So what do we do here with white? Let's have a look at this position. Is black potentially going to play queen h4? And knight f4, that might be dangerous. Or knight f4 immediately could be a threat. Knight, this one, we're on g2. So he's taken. What about, I don't think f takes losing e6, so. Alright, so c4, that's queen h4, just for knight f4. So c4 knight f4. G3 looks to be asking for it for queen h3. That'd be really quite dangerous. I'm playing like this.
Check. Check.
Oh no, it doesn't work here. Nearly. Oh wait, knight e3 instead. No,
Check.
King g1. Anyway, we don't want to play g3 in principle. Just queen h3 looks dangerous. Knight f4 threatened. C4 knight f4. Yeah, bishop g2. Oh, actually, I think queen h4 anyway is a reasonable move. Queen h4. Then what? Queen. Queen h4. What do we do after queen h4? Alright, so let's have a look around. This one. Bishop's going here. About knight a4. Is that an idea? c4. So just came out. Right, I'm in there again. Somewhere else. Knight's gonna. Whoops! Knight's gonna get a tempo. Maybe. Or let's go around here. And what's going on with CD then? Uh-huh. Oh. If rookie ain't, we've got 96. Knight c5. Oh. What is this pawn sack? Take with the knight. Right, let's have a look around again. Knight. Whoa, whoa! What's this? What's going on there? There's been an explosive move played. Knight d5. Wow, loose piece alert. Knight d5. Try and attack both of them. Wow. Ah, oh, loose piece magic again. Knight d5. Wow. So the queen's gone back. This could be trouble. What about a4? Might threaten b4 and a5. Bishop takes e5, needs to be considered taking. Knight e3. We'll just play bishop g4 later, and we've got the f5 square. Isn't white massively better there? This is a wreck. me just take on e5. That's bishop e4, takes queens and h5. There's knight c4. Just winning a pawn. Bishop takes e5. Doesn't bishop takes e5 look crushing here, out of interest? Bishop takes e5. What do you guys think about bishop takes e5? That looks he has played it. 50 points for me. This looks crushing. Knight e3. Knight e3 is going to play bishop g4 next, or knight c4. Crushing. Another 50 points. Just take the queen off, maybe? Let's have a look, taking the queen off.
Check.
For knight c4. Is that enough? Hang on, bishop g4 just straight off the bat? No, we don't want to lose this guy. Knight c4? What about taking the queens off? Knight c4. f6. Bishop g4. Bishop d4, we've got c3. Looks fairly good still. Bishop g4. Because we've got, like, taking, let's have a look at this position of h5. We just take here and play g3. We've got king g2 and rook h1. Okay, so what's happening on board? So board 3. Oh, the pawn sack was taken. So black took with the bishop. Took with the bishop, not with the knight. Yeah. Where's the compensation? Queen takes g3 is threatened here. That looks like I don't see the compensation there. I mean, if we just quickly examine this, it just looks horrible for queen takes g3 now as a threat. That's pin. So he took with the bishop. Of course, just take with the bishop. So if taking, this would have been with tempo here. It looks like a good position. There's knight f3 check coming. So this pawn sack was dubious. How did black get this again? Okay, so it looks terrible for white, surely. The only thing I can think, it just looks terrible. King h2 might have bishop h3 one day, but f3's like loose. Blimey. Bishop h6. Is that killer move or something? Bishop h6. What about just queen takes g3, just take the exchange? We've got e5 and bishop h3 coming. If the knight moves, we take on h4. Is that exchange sack terrible? It's for 2 pawns. Is this terrible? We've got e5 and bishop h3 on the cards. If king h1, maybe just queen g4. Oh, I'll just take this guy. So this knight is kind of, if that's the take here, yeah. Oh. Maybe that's not the greatest. If we move the rook somewhere, the thing is, king h2 for bishop h3 then is looking good for e6. Surely we might want to like just take this guy off on c8 soon and just play bishop h3, and we got pressure. We can get the exchange back with bishop takes and bishop takes e6. Let's just try this queen takes again. So bishop takes, we've got a loose thing here. Knight takes, rook takes. Actually, we could just play rook e8 and then e5, e4, bishop c7 after. Something like knight g5. Knight d4. What do you think about this queen takes g3? Is this rubbish? Or is it worth considering? Queen takes g3. Zvidlot on the roof. Sometimes he's joking, he said. There's a classic film, isn't there? Fiddler on the Roof. You get this expression, Zvidlot on the roof. He's played rook f6. Oh, is this an improvement on sacking the exchange? Is it an improvement? Yes, it looks like a good improvement. Because here we've got e4 coming for knight d4. That's juicy stuff to get e4 and knight d4. So it didn't matter about the g3 pawn. We've got queen g3 as a potential threat. So knight takes, rook takes. So this knight's pinned to the queen. He's right stuck for a move here. So king h2, e4, and something like horrible like knight g1 to protect the queen. Looks terrible. Knight d4. This looks crushing.
Check.
Something like rook c. It just looks terrible. We're going to get another pawn at least. Knight. Oh, it's terrible. Great exchange sack. So if not knight takes c8, then what? If we don't play knight takes c8, this is just as bad news, isn't it? Here, e4. We've always got e8. There's no time for bishop h3 or anything. So he's played knight takes c8. I guess rook takes c8 is forced, surely. And this is a terrible position for white. It looks terrible, but is it? I think white's going to lose central control here after e4. Losing central control. This bishop's fantastic. There's a threat of queen g3. We might just want to play e4 and then knight d4. This is crushing. I mean, I think it's crushing at the moment. Isn't it? What do you guys think? Does this look crushing? Black's crushing white here, to be more specific. I don't know how white solves any of these problems at the moment. Let's go. I mean, we have to protect the queen or something, or queen b5. Ah, just horrendous. I don't like this. No. We can pin the knight. We can do something. We can pin the knight. Okay, we can try and pin this. It's not really pinned. So e4, because the queen's kind of protecting it anyway. Don't see it. You have to e4. We're kind of losing a piece. It's horrible. I don't know. The exchange, you know, for a pawn. 6 pawns for black, 5 for white. But the central control is phenomenal here. I can't see a move. I actually can't see a move for white. You know, rook e1. Let's go with rook e1. Let's go with. Okay, he's played king h1. So he's got knight g1 now. For e4, knight g1. It's pathetic. It really is. I just. You know. I suppose there's rook. Is there rook here? There's knight takes f2 check as a deflection. If we want another pawn, these pawns should crash through if nothing else. I think here, this. I mean, you could even exchange off rooks here for knight f5, and then we've got these 2 pawns coming down. I mean, e4 looks, you know, just to gain central control. Knight g1, you know, knight d4, welcoming the exchange of queens, is simple. Yeah, I'll just do this if I was playing black. I think just knight d4. This looks. Oh, hang on, bishop h3, bishop h3. Not so easy. Not so easy. Is that the idea, actually? Is that the idea? So, okay, so, you know, this bishop h3 is a latent threat in the position. Played knight e5. So he did welcome the exchange of queens. Queen d2. So it looks as though bishop h3 is on the cards here. Well, just knight f3 is any good. Attacking the queen. Okay, that's the thing here. What about knight d3? That holds c1 against c1. We're on f2. Bishop h3. It is getting the rook. This bishop h3 is useful for white. knight c4. And get e3 in after. Why is the queen on d2 anyway? So here, maybe that's worth. I was playing e3. All right, we got queen takes g3 now. Oh, there's a big threat, knight g4 for mating on h2 potentially. We also got bishop takes e3 on the cards. Or this one. No, that one to hold d5. No, hold on. Why is f6 and prise here? Knight g4. Hang on. Queen d5. The thing is, we've got queen d6. We got what? If we've got queen d6 here to stop queen h2 mate, and if knight f2, we just no, simple. Just play queen h4 check and just pick up the rook. So he didn't do that. So he played queen f2, but he is on f6. If we it's protecting h4. So if we tricky. So if he this is better than I imagined that white would get. Much better than I imagined. So yeah, not over. So he's on f6. Oh, there's knight g4 protecting f6, so we've still got e3 coming in. There's bishop, not bishop h3. That's check. Bishop h3, knight takes f2 is check. Rook f4, rook e2. This looks passive. Rook f4, bishop e3. We've got bishop takes d5 check. Maybe.
Check.
King moves. We just keep hold of g. No, there's knight f2 check all the time. Don't want to do this. Surely, if rook e3, rook e2, bishop takes here. We've got d4 coming up, as well as rook c2, knight f2. That looks passive. So, but it somehow looks a lot better than earlier for white. Knight takes e3. What do we do about this? D4. It's not as nice looking as earlier. It's got to be said. For black. We can do this. Oh, knight g4. We just take it here. Nope. D4. We can take it here. Oh, hang on. There's things like D3 coming up though. We just get a move, for example, like this. Actually, bishop f3 could be good for this pawn. For any d3, sack for d2 after. Rook c4, okay. Knight h3. So between knight h3. Yeah. So 2 pawns for the exchange. But is it going to be a third pawn for the exchange? It's going to take on here. Stop knight f4. Very exciting. Let's quickly peek at the others for a sec. Whoa. Queen e1. Queen e1. Wow. Queen e1. I suppose it gives queen c3. It doesn't mind the double pawns here. Wow. I suppose there was the f-file pressure as well with the double pawns. Did play queen h4. Did play knight f4. Uh-huh. Is white not just winning e6? Or he's going to get mated on g2 if he's not careful. The check here. King g3, rook g2. He could just take with check and then go back. And there's f4. f4. Actually, there's always bishop e6 check. This pawn's not even hanging. White could just take here. I think Sanders got at least a draw coming up. Let's go again. So what's been happening here? Is the chat working still? So HG here, knight F5. So there's a big threat of knight G3 check to win back the exchange. Knight G3 check. So rook E6. Bishop C7 looks quite tasty. Oh, there's rook E7 check.
Check.
No, the rook's protecting that. We've got knight G3 check. No, wait. The bishop is nice on the diagonal. So, yeah, bishop C5. Okay, keeping the bishop on the diagonal. I think black just wants to play possibly D4, D3, D2, rook C1. That'd be cool. Just get this D pawn going. Get the D pawn going. How does white defend that? Because the rook's a bit awkward if they're not doing anything on the E file. No real entry point. That they're a bit awkward for this D pawn advance, I think. This knight's looking terrible. This is like a really unpleasant position to play, I think, still, for white. And then this has played a nice tactic. Let's have a look. I can get that board up. What's been going on in this game? Black's got all the pressure on the pawns. Wow. All these pins and everything going on, loose pieces. Bishop D2! Bishop D2 after rook. This is just, no, he's like, he lost the exchange. So the exchange were 2 pawns. Whoa, yeah. And I'm back here. There's bishop G5 of king E3. Oh, does that look all over? Did white just lose that? Did he have a good position? Yeah, white just resigned there. I think he seemed to have a good position. Like a really good position at some point. Surely. He just missed rook takes G4 check. So white has to do something about rook takes G4 check. But it's tricky. I don't know what white does about rook G4. So that rook H4. And there was, just quickly have a look from an engine point of view. If white was busted here. So this position, from an engine point of view, was actually better for black technically. this made it better for black even more.
Check.
And this is still better for black. And now it's -9, so it went to -9. What? This is the threat. Rook takes g4. So if we throw in the check, as the engine suggests, we can just defend against the threat with queen h3. But apparently it's still much better for black. He has 2 pawns for the exchange. Queen b7, what is that doing? Let's go with queen g3. Yeah, black was better anyway. Much easier to play sometimes, the exchange down for a couple of pawns. Sad that against Kramnik, it's all hotting up. So I thought Sander was having a good position here. So if rook takes, there was bishop e6.
Check. Check. Check.
Yeah.
Check.
Drawn. So that was drawn. So what are we left with? We're left with 2 games. I'll close that. Close that. Adams against McShane. Where's that gone? Ralston against Fiddler. It's not showing me them. Okay. Oh, they're over here. Not that one. Okay, Manic. Oh, black won. So what happened? So we had this horrendous to play position. Let's go around about here. I thought it was terrible. Bishop c5, b3.
Check.
Check. There's a threat of knight
Check.
f4 check. Oh, it's just brutal.
Check.
I'm going to the king. He sacks the
Check.
exchange back
Check.
for a few checks. And the king is like an attacking piece now. Here, white resigned. The king's an attacking piece as well. Okay, so there's one game left, which is the Adams game, hiding somewhere. Not this one. Adams. Where is that hiding? Let's close all these windows for a sec. Over here. Adams seems to be worse. I thought there was there's a threat of like e4, e3. Let's copy this here. So I think maybe Eve. Oh, is right, Queen F. there's queen f3 here. That might not be useful. No, it just loses the rook. We'll just take the rook. Just okay, we move the rook over here. Just keep an eye on f2. That's c4 though. It's a dangerous pawn. If we take this guy then?
Check.
I mean, then white's kind of better, I think. So this is a running pawn here. We can blockade. If we can blockade this one, we've got a running pawn. By the way, advance warning, I've got a club match later, so I'm only going up to a certain time. I'm certainly not going up to 9 o'clock tonight. I'm just advance warning, but these games have been pretty exciting actually. So we've got this c pawn. Oh, it's going to be blockaded with the king. Yeah. The king's going to come to blockade, so you just go with blockade. Oh, it's gone that way. We can
Check.
go to c8 now, because otherwise queen d6. Goes to c8 now. Right. Alright, now there's an interesting point here about check.
Check.
For queen b7. No, it's always c6, I suppose. Maybe not that interesting. So queen f6. Well, c6 looks like potentially dangerous. No, c6 for mating purposes here. What does black do here to c6? I don't know what black does here. What does he do? Is he going to lose an e-pawn? Queen d8? Nope. Okay. Well, queen a5, queen b5. This is dangerous for the checks. Well, now check, and this is almost dangerous.
Check.
Queen b4 for king e6. We make queen b4
Check.
here. King e6 is forced. We get another time for c7. We get time for c7. We get a check here
Check.
for c7. No, that doesn't help. No, hang on, that doesn't help. Because king d6. But queen b7, okay, king d6.
Check.
Alright, this position. Let's have a look at this position. Queen b6, so threatening c7. Queen d6. And that's let's getting out of the way of any checks. Now the king's going away from the pawn. What does this do? Queen b5. Oh, it's going over here. Let's get this. Queen d4. He's on f2 now. Well, I think king g2 or king draw perpetual check draw maybe. I don't know. King g2. We've got loads of checks. King g1. We've got loads of. No, we've got check here.
Check.
Here. Right. What do we do with this? What do we want to do here? Is it, I don't know, drawing now? King, I don't know. What does the engine say? 0. If king g2, queen e4 check 0. If king g1, queen d1 0.
Check.
Because if king h2, we've got queen d4. And if king g2, we've got queen f3.
Check.
Looks pretty drawish. White's liability is f2, his king for the checks. Looks drawish from an engine perspective. It's drawish. What time's the next round? Is the next round at 5:30? So queen e2, queen c5, queen d2. Oh, he's on h6. He's on h6. That's defended. What about the check on g5? I don't think white can do this.
Check.
It's tied to f2. Just king f8. Tied to f2. He can't do any pawn grabbing.
Check.
This perpetual check here is aesthetically pleasing. The perpetual check here.
Check.
Queen f6. Oh, blimey. Yeah. Keep some pressure on. Can black slip up here? Is c7 really dangerous? It's just taken here. Hang on,
Check.
c7. White's made some progress. c7. Well, it was from an engine point of view drawn, but that's different to human chess. And now it's looking a little bit dangerous for the check and... Wow. It's looking dangerous? Or is it? Perpetual check still.
Check.
Can the king crawl out like this?
Check.
So if we play here...
Check.
Oh no, I don't like this now. I don't know, unless it is really a perpetual check. I mean, king e1. I mean, are we running out of checks?
Check. Check.
We go up here.
Check.
There's a queen f3. Is there a way to get mated? Let's imagine this position.
Check.
It's good the pawn's holding the queen here.
Check.
So this kind of position
Check. Check.
is like endless
Check.
checks,
Check.
isn't it?
Check. Check.
He hasn't gone for that anyway. Something better here. There's a check here.
Check.
He's queened. To win e5.
Check.
He's winning e5. He's a pawn up. Oh man, he's a pawn up. And h5 is weak. h5 is weak. He's threatening immediately queen h8 check, winning the queen. He's got to go back to attack f2 surely and get his queen out of danger. Something like queen c2. play king g2. There's not many checks in sight here. Let's play king g1.
Check.
We play king. Is he gaining some time on the clock there? Because it seems as though here, king g2, there's no checks in sight. I think he gained some time on the clock. Gaining more time on the clock? Just in the threshold of the threefold repetition. So the next round's at 6 o'clock. But I think I've got a club match soon. I think I've got to leave about 6:45. What's happened here? Oh, it's drawn. Oh, pardon me. It seemed to have agreed a draw. So what's the problem with king g2?
Check.
Oh, there was the queen c6 check.
Check.
Oh. Alright, so if we had gone like
check.
this, say we'd tried to escape.
Check.
Here. Check.
Check.
Here. Check.
Check.
Then we can take it here.
Check.
It was nothing.
Check.
Too many checks
Check.
in sight.
Check. Check.
There's always too many checks. Okay, I'm going to stop this broadcast now, and I'm going to work out if I've got any useful time for the start at 6 o'clock. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do like the video if you've liked the commentary a bit. Okay, so I may see you later, otherwise I'll see you tomorrow. I've got this club match, otherwise it has been fun. So I may see you tomorrow, or just, if it is later, only for a little bit. Okay, thanks for coming. Comments or questions on YouTube.